Fabulous. Okay, so welcome, as I said, and how to help your kids do better at school. And we're going to work through, as we always do with systematic kinesiology, in an M.C.P.E. way. So the whole person, because just getting your kids up and dressed in school and physically there for them to do their day, it doesn't begin and end there. So what we're going to do is start off with the mental or emotional realm in how we can help our kids do better at school. Okay, so firstly, a lot of people think that kids don't really have stress because as adults, we have a lot of responsibility and a lot of life stresses, and life can be challenging, as we all know. Life is full of ups and downs and ebbs and flows, and we have, you know, huge responsibilities as adults. We kind of sometimes can get caught in a trap. Well, you know, what are the kids got to be stressed about? And even if they are stressed, is it a big deal? And the answer is often yes, it is, because in their world, their stresses are just as big and responsible and heavy, because we do carry a heavy burden with stress sometimes, and children can feel and hold that heavy burden of stress, particularly if they're quite closed or feel unable to express themselves, or if they do feel unable to be heard. So one of the ways we can help our kids do better at school is to be emotionally available for them. So what does that actually mean? Well, it means that even when we're stressed and we've got a lot on in our adult life, that we hear, we actively listen, I should say, actively listen to what our child is saying. So, you know, if they say, oh, you know, so-and-so wasn't very nice to me at the playground, you know, it may be tempting to say, oh, well, you know, kids, you know, fall in and out of friends all the time, be fine tomorrow, you know, just make friends tomorrow, whatever, and kind of brush it off, rather than saying, okay, so, you know, who did you feel that with today? You know, are they usually a best friend? You know, how did you feel about that? Do you, you know, and they might say, oh, I don't know. And then we can offer them emotions like, did you feel hurt? Did you feel upset? Did you want to cry? Were you angry? Did you tell the teacher? Did you not tell the teacher? You know, those kind of things, and take them seriously and listen to them and hear them. And even, you know, often just doing that, oh gosh, sorry, people are in the waiting room. Excuse me. Apologies, guys, if you've been in the waiting room. Yeah, I didn't know that was set up today, so I need to keep an eye out. Okay, so we're going through how to help your kids do better at school, M.C.P.E. And one of the first things in the emotional realm is to be emotionally available to our children. So, and we're just going through what that may mean. So, and discussing that how kids do feel stress and they do hang on to it. So with our heavenly parenting skills, maybe our heavy load with work and juggling stuff and listening to the kids and sorting them out, we can brush their little stresses out. They seem little, however, they could be huge to them. So emotionally available, as in, let's sit down and talk about this, or I really, you know, want to hear all about Johnny at school, and we need, we're going to sit down in an hour into as this evening in 10 minutes. So, you know, you're not stressed. If you drop everything and you're juggling stuff and you just drop everything to listen, we might be, not quite there. So, make it comfortable for you that you've got time to actively listen and offer them, if they're not sure how they feel, offer them some emotions. It's normal to feel all our emotions. It's normal to feel upset. It's normal to feel grief-stricken. It's normal to feel angry, fearful, resentful, guilty. All those feelings are normal. However, they're very heavy to feel and hold on to. So we can really help our children by talking things through. And of course, if they feel understood by you, even if they don't want to tell the teacher, even if they're not going to address it with little Johnny, even if they're not going to do anything else with it, just being able to express it to you and feel heard and listened to and understood, that's going to be a big weight off their shoulders, which is lovely. So being emotionally available is incredibly important to help your child do well at school. Because if they feel understood, they feel loved, and of course we all love our kids, they feel loved and they feel understood, they can start to understand themselves as well, because it's like, oh yeah, I am angry actually, I didn't know I was, but I am, la 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 la. So I would think that would be number one for our kids emotionally. The next one, if they do have an upsetting issue, an upset, they feel overwhelmed with schoolwork. A 5-year-old can feel overwhelmed by reading and doing their reading homework and doing some sentences. So it doesn't matter where they are in their learning journey, they can feel overwhelmed. They can feel maybe they're not the cleverest in the class, or maybe they are the cleverest in the class and feel guilty about that. Any emotion can come out. And what we can do with our systematic kinesiology is, whilst we are maybe talking this through, an upset, something that's happened, how they're feeling about their schoolwork, we can either do this, which is emotional stress release. I think most of you who have, I can see most of you have done some kinesiology, although I don't know some of you, so maybe not. There's some points on your forehead here that we touch. It's a natural reaction. So, oh my goodness me, or oh dear, or we might even cry and do this. That is a normal reaction. But what we do is we do this or this, and then we let go. The secret is to hold these points. Either it's between mid-eyebrow to hairline, right in the middle, the humps here. So we can either hold them with 2 fingers each side, or we can hold them like this. And with children, to be honest, rather than say, while they might be crying or upset or be animated telling you, it's going to be much easier to do this. And we can also sandwich and do some frontal and occipital holding at the same time. And that is hugely helpful. Just today, I had finished work a couple of hours ago, and one of my kids, an older one who'd come back from work, she said, I just don't know why, Mum, but I'm feeling really like anxious and panicky. She said, and she's not one to feel like that usually. I'm feeling really anxious and panicky, and I don't know why, and I feel a bit scared. So I said, right, okay. So I gave her a NutriCalm to suck, and I did some frontal and occipital holding, and we talked through how she felt. Just asked her how she felt, and she talked through. I said, are you feeling it in your body? Yes, in my stomach. Do you know what it might be about? No. And I just offered her some things, because I've been hearing her over the last couple of days saying how much she's got on. She's just off on a hen do when she's already a bit pushed. There's a lot going on. And I said, do you feel it might be, there's just a lot going on at the moment and you're feeling a bit overwhelmed? She said, yeah, actually, yeah, I do. I do feel there's a lot going on, and I don't know whether I'm up for it all. So I literally did that for 5 minutes and talked it all through, and lots of big sighs, And I said, how do you feel now, darling? And she said, oh, so much better. So that's kind of just some real support, some first aid support that's incredibly helpful. So we can do emotional stress release anytime, anywhere, for ourselves and our kids. And remember, if we just hold over the front and the back, it kind of has an even more powerful impact. What else we can do for our children, either before they go to school, or I know my dad used to do this a lot in my drink before school. Even when I didn't know, he admitted he used to put loads of batch flower remedies in my drink before I went to school. And yes, I've done the same things to my kids when they were young, and now they kind of take their own. So let's look at some remedies that could really help your kids. So pressure is one of them. So what kind of pressure? It might be work pressure, it might be peer pressure, it might be pressure from you as a parent. You know, what are your expectations of your child? And of course, the more expectations that we lay on our kids and pressure we put on them to do well, I'm not saying some encouragement and help and support. You know, I help one of mine with maths. She wasn't great at maths, so we got a maths tutor because we discussed it. And I said, would that help? Yes, it would, Mum. It wasn't like, right, I'm getting this maths tutor because you've got to get an A and rah, 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 and put her under all that pressure. So we might be putting our kids under pressure, although it might be other pressures at school. And for pressure, there's a lovely remedy called Agrimony. Agrimony is for feeling pressured in whatever way. And maybe it's a good idea to look at ourselves as parents. I do all the time. I self-inquire all the time. We can't get it right all the time. However, we can, if we self-inquire and look at our responses and look at how we deal with things, then we can really, help our kids do better. So yeah, for any kind of pressure, Agrimony. Now for that Monday morning feeling, so you've got a child that doesn't want to go to school. I don't want to go to school. And it doesn't have to be Monday morning to give them hornbeam. It could be any morning. It's just that Monday morning feeling. If I ever get it, then I will take some hornbeam. So it's kind of, here we go again. I'm really not feeling like the day ahead. However, the day has to go ahead. And it's that feeling of, I'd just really rather put my feet up or go back to bed or whatever it is. And our kids feel that, you know. So understanding that can really help, and giving them some hornbeam. And we might be suffering with a bit of Monday morning-itis as well as we dash off to the school run. We can take some hornbeam. So hornbeam can be given all year round, all week round. And it can really help your child feel differently very quickly about going to school. These remedies work amazingly. So that's hornbeam for Monday morning feeling. Then we've got lack of self-confidence, which in even the brightest children, even children that, you know, you're instilling, you know, a lot of confidence to them, you're boosting them, that you're really working on their self-esteem, they can still lack confidence. And Larch is a fantastic confidence builder. It helps you dive in and do your best and feel that you can do it. So yeah, one of my kids doesn't love calling up. She doesn't love phoning, you know, if she needs to call the bank or anything like that. She doesn't like doing that. However, Larch really helps. It's like, come on, let's get the Larch, give us some Larch, and then she can kind of feel it and do it. And it's incredibly helpful. So that's the confidence. Now, you might have a child that puts themselves under pressure to try too hard. And when we try too hard, and we all know this as adults, when we try too hard, what can happen? it can actually go the other way when we're trying too hard. We can mess up because we're just we're so desperate and stressed and strained to just try too hard, then the vein can come across to the rescue. So they might be trying too hard, desperately, to make friends. They might be trying too hard to get everything right. And that takes the struggle and strain away from trying too hard. And of course, understanding that when we do that, things can actually go the other way. And of course, we don't want to try anyway. So the word try is something that we suggest to avoid using with ourselves and our children. So I give this example in class. So I'm having a party, which I am actually on the 14th of May. I'm having a party and I say to you, oh, do you want to come along to my party? And you say, I'll try and come. You kind of know there and then that they're not coming. So you invite me to your party and I say, oh, I'll try and come. You kind of know that it's not on my priority list and I probably won't come. So I know it's using it in different contexts, but saying to your kids, well, just try harder at school, just try and make friends, just try and be good for the teacher, just try and eat your lunch. It's setting them up for failure, really, because the word try isn't achieving anything. And it's very confusing as to what it actually means. And in class, I also give I go up to someone and say, try and shake my hand. And of course, they go to shake it. I say, no, don't actually shake it. Just try and shake it. So when you're trying, you're not actually doing it. So avoiding the word try is incredibly helpful in your own adult life and also with your kids. So what I would suggest is that, you wean that word out of your language. So, okay, do your best. Do your best is so much better than try harder. Do your best. I know that you always do your best and your best is good enough for me. So we're all doing our best in life, even those people that other people may judge. I don't know, someone that is kind of doing everything they can and stealing to buy drugs, say, someone like that. They go, oh, well, they're this, they're that, and the other. Well, I tell you what, even they're doing their best, because what's their upbringing been like? They're doing their best to manage their day in any way they can. And that's what they might have learned, that they might be neglected. They may have seen their parents do that. They may, anything like that. So they may just have been hugely influenced by peers. Hold on, sorry, let someone else in. So, everyone in every situation is still doing their best to get through their day. So retreating that to your child, do your best. And your best is always, always going to be good enough for me, which is such a lovely way of communicating with your child. Okay, so next, all the what if fears, like what if I fail? What if I'm not good enough? What if nobody likes me? What if all those what if I'm not popular? What if people laugh at me? Anything like that. That's Aspen. So if your child is what ifing a lot, Aspen can really, really help those what if fears. So it's the apprehension. It's not actually what's happened. And of course, our apprehensive fears are, they're joy suckers and they're time stealers. And we can identify that as an adult. When we are racing ahead into the future and what ifing, we're sucking the joy out of today, and we're also having time stolen from today. You know, there's enough concerns in any one day for that day. So when we bring concerns in for tomorrow, next week, next month, next year, whatever, we bring that into our day, it's all too much. So Aspen for all the what ifs. Now, overwhelm. And again, we need to understand our children get overwhelmed. They get overwhelmed, yeah, just like we do. And sometimes we get overwhelmed and there isn't loads. And you think, well, why am I feeling overwhelmed? Why am I feeling overwhelmed? Yeah, there's a few things going on, but no more than usual. Why am I feeling overwhelmed today? Well, sometimes it's just that you are. There could be many, many different reasons for that. However, Elm can be fantastic for overwhelm. So giving your child Elm will really help with overwhelm about anything. Now, another popular one for kids is the roundabout thoughts. So the roundabout thoughts just going round and round and round and not stopping. So they're not necessarily what ifs, they're just thoughts going round and round. And, you know, unwanted thoughts. You don't want to keep thinking about it. However, it just keeps going round. And of course, the more you attempt to think about this, the more you attempt not to think about the thing that's going round and round in your head, the more you think about it. So if I all say to you now, whatever you do, do not think about pink elephants. You will all see you'll all start seeing pink elephants, or, you know. So it's when we tell our child not to do something, like don't worry, not hugely helpful. And we know that when you're worried about something and someone says, oh, well, just don't worry. Well, it's not hugely helpful, because we are going to worry and we're going to carry on. So roundabout unwanted thoughts, white chestnut. And for any kind of biggie, like a big shock, a big event, you know, inconsolable, anything like that, we can give them rescue or 5-flower remedy. So rescue, sometimes in some brands called rescue remedy, some other brands call it 5-flower remedy. And of course, we can give those remedies in water, so they won't even know. Or you say to them, this could really help. Let's give you something to support those emotions. You can do it with or without an emotional stress release. The remedies and emotional stress release are huge, absolutely huge. So you could do that together. So just to recap on emotions, take the time to actively listen to your child and be emotionally available for them, and listen to us sometimes seem little or petty worries, but they're not to them, they're huge. And to take it seriously really helps them feel understood and loved, and then let that go. Emotional stress release and the match-flower remedies that I have mentioned for all the different kind of emotional states. So that's how you can help emotionally. There's other ways too, although, oh, what's happened here? There's other ways, although, let's get rid of that. Ooh. Okay, I'll leave that. Now to get rid of that. Oh. Oh, hello, I'm back again. I disappeared there. Okay, apologies about that. Okay, so next, chemical realm, because we're working with SK, systematic kinesiology, and we always work with the M.C.P.E. because that makes us up as a whole, and if we leave one of them out, we could potentially have a little part of the problem still remaining. So how can we help our kids do better at school through chemicals and chemistry, or, well, chemicals is everything that goes in our mouth, everything we drink and eat and breathe in and everything like that. So breakfast. Now, breakfast is a very important part of your child's day. I'm always absolutely gobsmacked when I see clients that lots of children are going to school without breakfast. In fact, when my youngest was in year 6, they just started, or maybe year 5 even. Anyway, they just started breakfast club. And I said to the teacher, "Oh, wow, breakfast club." Well, you know, she said, "Well, yeah, we do normally an hour before school, and it didn't used to include breakfast." She said, "We've had to do a breakfast club." And she said, because so many children get dropped off at 8 o'clock in the morning with they haven't had anything to eat. So they started doing a free breakfast club because so many children were going to school without breakfast. So how we can learn without any glucose for our brains is beyond me. And I'm not talking about eating sugar. I know sugar's glucose, but lots of things slowly release into glucose. So we need that for our brains to work properly. So the other thing, just going quickly, skipping back to emotions, stress equals no learning. Stress equals no learning. So when you're really stressed, it's really hard to learn. So if your child goes into school stressed, it's going to be really hard for them to learn. And that's that with an emotional stress. It's also going to be hard for them to learn with a chemical stress of no breakfast, or maybe a chocolate bar. You see the teenagers walking to school all the time with a chocolate bar and a can of Coke, or a packet of crisps and a Red Bull. You see that a lot. It's not a breakfast. It's not nutrition. It's salt, sugar, chemicals, additives, and none of which is going to aid learning. So if you've always brought your kids up to have breakfast, they will. If you haven't given them breakfast and they've been kind of set their own pattern of no breakfast, then that can start to be broken with, I've just found out, particularly with young children, I've just found out how important breakfast is before you go to school. And the child might say, "Oh, I don't want breakfast, it makes me feel sick, la, 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 la." Then you can say, "Okay, well, what I'm going to do is make you a really healthy smoothie. It's a drink. It's a drink before you go to school." So a healthy smoothie with some fruit and protein powder can be a really good start to the day for your child. Eggs can be. And a lot of parents say they don't have time for eggs. I don't understand that step. I've got 4 kids, I've got my school, and I run a busy clinic. They've always had either protein shake, eggs, porridge, and a lot of people say they don't have time for porridge. Porridge literally takes 5 minutes. That's it. Boiled egg, 5 minutes. Fried egg, 1 minute. So we do have time for eggs, and we do have time for porridge. We do have time to make a smoothie. We do have time. And if you don't, then we need to set the alarm 5-10 minutes earlier, and for ourselves and our kids, because sending our kids to school with those kind of nutrients in their tummy is really going to help them do well at school. And what I would suggest is mix it up, like smoothie one day, boiled eggs another, maybe with some lovely rye bread or some rye vita, not necessarily toast all the time, because that can be a problem with the wheat. Some kind of wheat-free, good bread, or like I say, rye vita, rice cake, stuff like that with eggs. Porridge, and you can add banana in it, and you can put a bit of maple syrup on, because that's a really good sugar. And yeah, maybe some granola and some granola, yogurt, and a bit of compote. Can be also quick and easy, really nutritious. So there's some really hopefully helpful to you. I just wrote down what I kind of did the, rotation with my kids as what they might eat. So sending them to school on that kind of breakfast is a really, really good idea. The other thing that we can do is support our children with nutrition. And you think, well, you know, a 5-year-old, you don't want to be taking loads of supplements. Absolutely, of course. However, I'm going to suggest a couple of things that A, I've given to my own children, and B, my clients' children have found really, really helpful. And that is something called Zambrosa. And Zambrosa is a wonderful antioxidant and fiber drink, and it tastes like juice. It's lovely. So yeah, that's brilliant, Zambrosa. And my kids had it from, well, my younger two had it from a year old. So it's just, like I said, it's fruit antioxidant drink. So you can have it from, weaning about 1. So sort of 1 to 3, I would probably recommend sort of 5 to 10 ml. So a teaspoon or a dessert spoon daily. And you can see, as long as it doesn't affect the bowels, that's the only thing it could do. If you notice the bowels were a bit loose, you'd cut back. However, most children are constipated these days because they don't have enough antioxidants and fiber. Then age 3 to 5, I'd suggest between 10 and 20 ml. Again, play around with the dose. The only thing would be slightly looser bowels. However, what you'll probably notice is if they weren't going to the loo every day, they will start going to the loo every day. And then 6 plus, they can have 20 to 30 ml, depending on the size of the child, and again, bowel tolerance, which can be, super helpful for them. And it really affects really boosts the immune system, and therefore helps with digestion, helps steer clear of coughs and colds, which is also a way to help your kids do better at school, because if they're feeling unwell or you've got to keep them off, they get behind, and lots of kids go in and out of school with coughs and colds. So something called Zambrosa. If you'd like to look at that, it's on the TASK website. So if you go to the Academy of Systematic Kinesiology, click shop and go through, you'll find Zambrosa, and we offer a 15% discount on that. So you might want to have a look at that. The other thing I did with my kids was when I knew there was something going around. So you've got COVID going around now. You've got all kinds of coughs and colds, molluscum contagiosum, any kind of virus, anything going around. Oh, flipping heck, it's going through the school. Or if they've got a little sore throat, or if they're slightly under the weather, I would give them some Silver Shield. Silver Shield is a liquid colloidal silver solution that is very, very safe. You've really got to be careful with usual colloidal silvers, particularly with children, because you can overdose. However, with Silver Shield, which is an Aquasol special technology patented solution, normally with each teaspoon of silver, there's about 700 parts of silver. With the Silver Shield, there's only 70, but it picks up more than 700 particles. It's got like a chain reaction. So what does silver do? It's a metal. You've probably heard the term born with a silver spoon in your mouth. A lot of people connect that with wealth. In the olden days, you think, oh, well, they're born with a silver spoon, it's because they're wealthy. Yeah, the wealthy could afford silver spoons, but it wasn't the money that got them, got them through childhood, because so many kids died. It was the fact that they were fed with a silver spoon. And when you're fed with a silver spoon, and that's an old-fashioned christening present, you buy a child, as soon as they're christened, you buy them a silver spoon. Now, that silver spoon tends to go in a display cabinet, or it goes in the loft, or it goes somewhere else. You're not feeding your child. The whole idea of a silver spoon is to feed your child with it. So little particles of silver come off every day. You're feeding little bits of silver come off to mop up bacteria and virus and when it's attached to the silver, it's like a magnet. When the bacteria goes to the silver and it just passes through the body. So it's kind of a mopping up situation. So if you know something's going around, if I ever knew anything was going around, or they were a little bit coughy, tickle throat, or anything, straight with the silver. Again, about a teaspoon, mixed in some water, goes down a treat before school. Lovely. And I would also suggest a really good child's multi that includes vitamin C, zinc, and vitamin D. So zinc really helps with behavioral issues and really helps with an alert mind, helps with learning. It's a very electrical supplement that can be hugely helpful with behavior and learning. So really good supplement. I would suggest looking at the Cytoplan range for children. I'm sure they do a multi that contains vitamin C, zinc, and vitamin D. The kids' multivitamins from Superdrug, Sainsbury's, Boots, all that kind of thing, I wouldn't recommend. That they virtually never test out on anyone that brings them in. They're often sugar coated. Some of them are effervescent, loaded with sugar. So yeah, have a look at a really good company like Cytoplan and see if you can find your child a really good multivitamin mineral that contains those things. Now, also for your child, we need to cut the sugar down. Sugar is more addictive than cocaine. Sugar does feed the brain, and a lot of people really believe that sugar is good for them, and they can think, you know, they get energy from sugar, and then they give their kids sugar. I know loads of my clients give their kids tea, caffeinated tea with a sugar in the morning to set them up for the day. So I would strongly recommend not to do that, and to also cut right back with sugar anyway. So what does that mean? It means processed sugars. And we've got to be really careful with breakfast cereals. Breakfast cereals contain huge amounts of sugar, which is why I'm suggesting eggs, homemade porridge with some maple syrup and banana, and something like granola and compote. We've got to be careful with granola, but Lizzie's granola, I think it's Lizzys, that's the one we use a lot at home. Lizzie's original granola, it's very low glycemic load, so it's very long delivered carb and sugars. Fantastic way to start the day. So we really need to cut our kids' sugar back. So how can we do that? Not give them sugary cereals, not put sugar in drinks, not give them fizzy drinks. A fizzy drink that my kids love is cherry juice with soda water. So you can buy Biona tart cherry juice, which is absolutely delicious, and add soda water. They've got, hey presto, you have a fizzy drink. And you can add it, you can have, you know, soda water with, I squeeze lemon and lime in, and that's a lovely quick kind of lemonade. So we can really cut back in those ways. We can give them fruit, loads of fruit, dried fruit. Dried fruit is quite high in sugar, but again, so much better than giving them sweets and chocolate. You know, if you bring your kids up, the what are they called? Not Snacker Jacks. What's it? Anyway, there's an organic apricot box, and they comes in. Got them all the time in my cupboard. You buy a box of organic, no sulfur added apricots. They are I cannot imagine any child not liking them. All my 4 love them. And they come in the box. There's 5 packets, and you get about 5 apricots, and they are gooey and delicious and wonderful. So that would be a lovely sweet treat. Something like, I know we haven't got much time. I do understand that. However, I regularly make a banana bread. I regularly make some kind of healthy cookies, and the kids are like, when I say kids, mine are much older, but I've still got 3 at home at the moment. So it's like with the healthy cakes and biscuits, but not all the time. So a lot of the time, the thought of doing it, you think, I haven't got time to do that. Well, if I've got time to do it, I know other people have, because we're all pushed. We're all doing a lot and juggling a lot. So that's really helpful. The other thing that's really helpful is less or no wheat. Gluten-free is very fashionable at the moment, and the gluten-free stuff is usually rubbish. So you go down and you think you're doing well getting the gluten-free stuff. It's loaded with sugar and other things to make it taste unlike cardboard. So I recommend artisan breads, 100% rye bread, Village Bakery in Waitrose. Very few children are sensitive to rye and barley and things like that. I know there's exceptions here. So, however, you can get fantastic gluten-free artisan loaves. The white and the Genius breads, they're okay occasionally, but they're full of a load of rubbish. What I've always done is basically there's no wheat at home. High days and holidays, maybe, Easter, my kids get an Easter egg, Christmas, yeah. So high days and holidays, some wheat might come into the house. They do love hot cross buns. And it will come in now and again. Generally, my house is wheat-free. So there's nothing that they don't eat it at home. So if they have some out at friends' houses we can't control, when they're out and about, maybe school lunches, of course, if they're absolutely wheat intolerant and get ill or gluten intolerant, I'm not suggesting for 1 minute that they eat it then. However, if you predominantly keep your child off wheat at home, because wheat is the main problem rather than gluten, then when they're out and about, they can have some, and they're not going to get overloaded, because often it's getting overloaded with wheat that is the problem. And wheat makes you tired in the morning, feeling stuck to the bed, grumpy, achy. Yes, even children, achy. Just can't wake up like a dormouse in the morning. That is often wheat. You take wheat out, might need to come completely out for a month or two, and then just have it, out and about. You will notice a difference in your child's energy, because sugar and wheat can make children very, very tired. And also, we need to watch out for those salty snacks, particularly crisps. Crisps are often given daily to children. It's something that really ought to be occasional, the occasional bag of crisps, not a daily consumption. There's huge amounts, in one piece of processed white bread, that is more, I think that's double a child's salt content for the day. So if they have a white bread sandwich of 2 pieces, that's quadruple the salt intake for the day for the child. Then a packet of crisps in the lunchbox. You seeing what's going on? I mean, the salt content that we're giving our children is huge. Well, what does that do? It affects the adrenal glands. It affects the pancreas. We always think of sugar with the pancreas, but salt also affects the adrenals really negatively. It dehydrates your child. So how much water are they drinking? That's coming up in the electrical in a minute. But water really is M.C.P.E, because without water, you can't think properly. Without water, you can't digest properly. Without water, you get dehydrated and can't exercise properly. And without water, your electrics don't work. Anyone knows that if a battery hasn't got any water in it, it's not going to run You know, our car, you know, we need water for electrical currents. So water's huge. So, I mean, back in the day, I used to have, you know, water bottles weren't allowed in class back in the day, although I got some in. But now I think water bottles are allowed in the class, which is fantastic. So that's all going to help the chemistry of your child and help them feel better. And when you feel better, you do better. Now, the physical realm, appropriate exercise for your child. So what might that be? Every child's different. What we tend to see is way too much exercise or not enough. Really sporty or not sporty at all. So again, the extremes. Our kids need to be active and they need to be running around and doing stuff they love every day. However, some parents, and I've seen this many, many times, there's just too much activity. So what happens is the kids do their day, and I think pretty much at school, there's 2 play times, there's lunchtime, and there's PE. You know your child better than anyone. You know what exercise they do, and you can be the judge of what they may need to do more if their metabolism's sluggish, or they maybe need to do less if their metabolism's overactive and they're quite small or quite thin. So what I have seen is a lot of kids, they're doing after school clubs every single night of the week. They're doing football on, and at weekends, football Saturday and Sunday. This is common, football Saturday and Sunday. Training for something else on Monday, swimming on Tuesday, swimming lessons on Tuesday, karate on Wednesday, football training on Thursday, la, 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 la. I have seen kids' immune systems literally on the floor because of this. As soon as they finish school, maybe a quick snack, straight off to something else. Our kids need to rest. They need to rest. They need to unwind. They need to chill. They need some time to manage their own time, not to be entertained and whisked here, there, and everywhere. It's good for kids to manage their own time and also their own activities. If they want to do stuff, of course after school stuff's great. 5 days a week, nah. I would suggest no more than 2. That's just a suggestion that I throw out there as a parent, and having seen the result of it, of kids that are brought in literally on the floor. So I would recommend maximum 2 things that your child really wants to, not that you want them to do, what they want to, what their interests are, what their focus is. One of my youngest son he's been learning piano for 2 years now, his choice. And I was just chatting to his piano teacher. I said, oh, you're fantastic. He loves you. You love blah, blah, blah. He's loving it. And she said, I can't believe how he's coming on. She said, it's a joy to teach him because he wants to come and he wants to learn. I said, oh, what do you mean? She said, most kids are dragged here by their parents and they don't want to learn the piano and they don't practice, or they practice a little bit and they feel huge pressure and they don't even want to be here. So, and she said, I feel so sorry for them. And I've actually said this to the parents sometimes, are you sure you want to continue? Because it's not really in your child's heart to be learning the piano. But anyway, it's all, it's all about balance. And I'm just offering you things to think about to balance. So kids do need to rest and have downtime too. But of course they need to be active. And as a parent, it's good to see what that might be for your child. Now, some things kinesiologically that would be fantastic to help your child do better at school is an exercise called cross crawl. And a lot of you know it, but for those of you who don't, I'm just going to do it for you. you actually don't need to see my face. There you go. So what you do need to see is my arms and legs. And this is fantastic for learning and to integrate the right and left side of the brain. It's very, very easy. You literally touch the opposite side of the body like this and get your child to do this before they go to school, particularly if they're feeling sluggish. You might have a trampoline at home and then they can bounce like this on the trampoline. You can show them, they can touch their ankles, you can make it fun, you can touch behind like this. There's all kinds of cross-crawl exercises that you can do. And like I say, that integrates the right and left side of the brain and can really help your child do better at school. If they find it difficult, please do persevere, because they will find it easier and easier. So that's cross-crawl. Next one, so that's going to help them, their brains integrate. Next one is something called lazy eights. And this is going to help your child with writer's cramp. It's going to help your child, again, the two sides of the brain will integrate nicely with this exercise. However, this exercise is specifically for writing, to neaten up writing, to help with writer's cramp, to help the flow of writing. And what we do is we draw an 8 like this, maybe on a piece of paper, or you can do it in the air like I'm doing here. Nose in the middle, and if you watch my eyes, we go up and up through the middle and up through the middle. So nose is remaining in the middle and the eyes follow the pen or the finger in the air. They can doodle on paper. You can do it with paintbrushes. With young kids that are finding it hard to write, you can do it in the sandbox. You can do it with coloured marker pens on big pieces of paper. You can make it fun for them and it will really help their writing, which is lovely. Then we are going to do our ears as aerials. Now, our ears are like a satellite dish. We don't hear with them, we hear with our brains. However, the energy of the sound comes in and goes around the beautifully shaped ear into the brain. So it captures the energy and the vibrations and the signals of the sound waves, and that's interpreted into understanding language and sounds by our brains. So if the satellite dish isn't on, it's going to be hard to have that information, to receive the information, download it, remember it, and absorb it. So what we're going to do to really help our children is we are going to open up, this switches on their ears. We're going to open up the ears like this. You can do it with a little bit of olive oil on your hand if you'd like. It's not a little tickle like this. It's not sort of doing this with their ear. It's with the thumb. It's as if you're trying to straighten out the ear, pulling it like this. If it's sore for your child, then that means they're not receiving loud and clear. And you can also pull this down like this and come back round. I like doing it with my thumb. Of course, you can do this to yourself. If you're going to a course or a seminar, you can just switch it on like that. And then the other side, we'll do exactly the same like this. To switch the ears on, pull them back and out, unfurl them, we call it, and really get the energy into the satellite dish, the ear, to hear information and have it retained as well, which is lovely. So that's going to really help your child and pay attention, retain what they've heard, and be more alert for listening, which is fabulous. So please do try that at home. If you do it to yourselves, you will hear the difference and you feel refreshed as well. It's a very refreshing kind of little treatment to have. Okay, so energetically, water, water, water. Please give your children lots of water. Generally not with meals, because if we give our children water with meals, it dilutes all the lovely things that ought to be digesting our food. And it can also fill children up, and then they don't finish their meal. And then if they don't finish their meal, then they want something afterwards. They want to fill up on other things, not their dinner. So what I do is when I put the vegetables onto steam, just as I'm doing that, or just before, while the kettle's boiling, I call everyone down, or if they're around, I'll remind them to get a glass of water or just pass them one, and they just glug it down, because then you're not, 10 minutes later, you're not thirsty while you're eating. And then you're not going to get full up on water. You're not going to have everything, all your digestive juices diluted. And then you can wait an hour afterwards before you start drinking again. So that's very helpful. Now, none of my kids, I know it was much easier with my older children because phones were in. However, they had kind of sort of in the 80s, wasn't it? They were kind of just coming in, but really popular in the 90s. None of my children have had a phone before they're 11. It just didn't feel right for me. And I know every parent's different. However, what I do see is little kids in buggies, holding phones, playing with phones on their, laptops, things like that. The less screen time your child can have, the better. Your child's brain is not fully developed until it's 12. Now, they don't know. I know that you'll hear people say, oh, there's no proof and la, 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 and there's no scientific. They don't know. Anyone who says they do know, I don't feel they're telling the truth. We don't know what phones and devices and Wi-Fi is doing to our children's brains. We don't know what it's doing because there hasn't been enough research, and I don't think they're willing to do the research even. I don't know. Your child's brain is not fully developed till it's 12. Now, what's happening to that brain with all those waves going through it? We don't know. We don't know what's happening to it. Is it developing in the right way? Can it develop in the right way? So all my kids got, their 11th birthday present was a phone for secondary school, so I know their whereabouts and they can call me and we can contact and keep in touch, because I know, living in this day and age, it's like a bit, can be. And, that was my house rule. It wasn't very popular, but it was my house rule. And I would strongly recommend that if your child is younger than that and they do have a phone, please, very, very limited use of phones and laptops and iPads. Screen time, there's an all-time low of children's eyesight. Children's eyesight is going. It is really going. More children wear glasses than ever before, and the blue light really affects. So yeah, there are blue light screens, there's blue light glasses, and I strongly recommend blue light glasses, blue light screens to block the blue light out, which disrupts sleep, it disrupts the pineal gland, it may disrupt the brain, we don't know because of the lack of research. So I would strongly recommend as little screen phone time as possible and blue light glasses when they are on it. All the energies are going to be thrown off. Years ago, you probably remember when phones first came out. If I had my phone near the computer, before they fix this problem now, but before the phone even rang, about 30 seconds before it would interfere with the electronics of the computer. Do you all remember that? And it used to go, and you'd think, oh, right, oh, my phone's just about to ring. So if it's doing that to your computer, what do you think it's doing to your brain? I used to think, oh, is that going through my brain? And I could feel it. I really could. And again, they've changed. I don't know what they've done, but they've changed, if you're here, a lot of people talk with the speaker now, which is better. However, if you're not used to phones, my sister doesn't own a mobile. She hasn't got any children, and she just doesn't own one. I think she's one of the only people in the country. And if she just talks on my phone for a minute or two, her ear is like a lobster because her body's just not used to it. It's literally bright red. I haven't held my phone next to here for so long, I don't know, but my ear used to get hot and red, after a while. So, that's telling you something. So, yeah, let's keep the screen time and the phone time down, please. And please consider not giving your young children phones. Now, having your energies disturbed can, what in systematic kinesiology we call switch you. You can become switched. Anything can switch you. All the things that I've been talking about this evening, the M.C.P.E, so emotional things can switch your energies, chemicals, eating the wrong foods, not being dehydrated, that can switch your energies around, lack of physical exercise, too much, and of course all the energetic stuff. So what I suggest you do is another little thing. So we're going to do the cross call in the ears in the morning. I also recommend we do some switching. So what does this do? This is a bit like when the fuse blows in our house. One of the fuse box switches flips down or up, I don't know which way, but we have to, I think it flips down and you have to put it back up, and that resets the electrics. Well, I'm going to show you something that resets the electrics for our children. So again, this can be super helpful to rub under the collarbone here and the navel, and we rub them together like this, and for literally 30 seconds or a minute, and keep rubbing that, and we are resetting. You can do this as adults. If you want to, if you're feeling a bit switched off, you can use this to switch on, and vice versa. If you're feeling a bit too switched on and you can't relax, then you can rub those points to switch off. So however they're imbalanced, rubbing those points can help. Either switches you on and brightens you up and you feel it, or if you're wired, sometimes we're really tired, but we're also wired. Kids can get that like too. And we know that because they can get hyper when they're tired. So just going to show you more close up what that is. There's my collarbone and there's my sternum here. And it's right, you feel your own, because what you want to be is right under the collarbone, but also either side of where your sternum is. Some people's sternums are thinner and some are really thick like that. But find underneath the collarbone and on your sternum, and that's where you rub your child with the navel like this. In certain circles, they're called brain buttons, and that's quite a nice word to use. Little brain buttons to switch your brain on or calm your brain down. Either way, they'll kind of fix the electrics of your child. So that's super stressful. And the last thing, we've run over 6 minutes, apologies. The last thing that I would like to mention is kids pick up on our stress. So when we're stressed, when we're, even if we don't say anything, even if we're not kind of showing our pressure or being a bit, snappy or whatever, or being quiet, everyone handles things differently when they're stressed as adults. the kids will pick up on it every time. So we think we're hiding it. We think we're doing a good job in keeping it from our children because we don't tell them maybe. The last thing we need to do is tell our kids how stressed we are and tell them about our stresses. It's nice to open up and talk to them. However, we are their world. And if they see their world crumbling, even in a day, that's going to really worry them and stress them. So if we can deliver it calmly and learn to feel calm and learn to manage our stress, express it, but manage it and express it in a calm way. That's what I really want to say. So manage our own stress and express it to our children in a calm way. So there's nothing wrong with saying, Mum is not having a great day today. It's okay, everything's okay. Mum is a bit quiet because she's got a lot on her mind. And yeah, I haven't had a great day. I'll be absolutely, all will be good tomorrow. Something like that. Because then you've expressed it. If you say, oh, I'm fine. Yeah, I'm fine. They know that you're not. And that unsettles them. So expressing it in a calm, collected way and reassuring them that it's just for today or maybe over a few days, but assuring them that, it will all be okay in the end. I love the saying, and this is what I've always said to my kids when they're upset as well. I said, it'll all be all right in the end. And if it's not all right, it's not the end. And all my kids love, and I still say that to my adult kids sometimes. I'll say, if it's not all right, we'll all be all right in the end. If it's not all right, it's not the end. And it's like, oh, yeah, which is nice. And I do feel it's true because however it does become all right in the end, even if it's really challenging, even if it goes on longer than you think, things do become all right. They do right themselves. They do correct. Things ebb and flow all the time. It's like the sea breathing, going in and out. Life breathes and it comes. Stresses come and stresses go, and things happen. Bad things happen to good people and then they go, and good things happen to bad people, and that's another, well, not bad people, but a lot of people say, oh, everything goes their way. Well, that's just life. And I don't say it that way. I just say, bad things happen to good people, and that's also a truth. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this evening and you've got some good tips. I'm just going to the chat because there's quite a few. Let me just see if there was anything I've missed. Okay, let's go. Oh, I pour mine over their porridge. Oh, lovely. Pour what over the porridge? Was that maple syrup or something? I pour mine over the porridge. I don't know what I was talking about.
Sambusa.
Oh,
Sambusa, Claire.
Goes over the porridge. Oh, that's a good idea, Nicola. Dates or too much sugar. Again, a date is a lot better than manufactured sweets. If I do dates, this might help actually. If the child's not too small and they haven't got any problem with nuts, a couple of nuts with the date or the dates, two dates and a few little selection of nuts really slows the sugar down from the date. So that's helpful. What about AirPods, wireless earphones? Yeah, exactly the same. Not great. So what I do, I've got teenagers, they've both got earpods and they've both got wireless earphones. They do use them, but it's limited. And also at night time, all phones off on airplane mode. And if you can, turn the router off as well. Just turn that off at night is incredibly helpful. And make sure they don't fall asleep with those AirPods. wireless earphones and AirPods in their ears, because that did happen once. And yeah, with my daughter, she was listening to something. I said, okay, at night, you listen to something and then you physically turn your phone off. They're very good at doing that. So it's getting into a pattern and educating our children that these Wi-Fi devices are not okay. They're okay to use for our life. We kind of do need them in 2022 life. I don't know how I would work and do everything that I do without my phone, but am I on it? Am I kind of on it when I'm not working? Not a lot. Thank you for reminding us how to use what we learned for our children. Lovely. And self-care. I think there's some great, lovely, useful, cute. Any other specific tips for autism? Thanks. Oh yeah, pancakes, great for breakfast. Yes, pancakes, wonderful. Thank you, Linda. Yeah, you can make buckwheat pancakes are absolutely delicious. In fact, Lottie's got a lovely recipe on the community for her buckwheat. No, actually it wasn't buckwheat, it was another one, but there's buckwheat pancakes, and you can make the mixture the day before, gluten-free flour, chia seeds and flax seeds. Lovely, Linda. Lovely pancakes. Brilliant. Fabulous. So yeah, autism, absolutely everything I've said, and probably more emotional work as well to help them handle their stress within themselves, because their stress levels can go from 0 to 100 very quickly. Gut health is huge with autism. So gut health, some sort of deeper emotional work, oils, high level of the correct oil, obviously safe high levels, so you'd need to check that out for the child and the weight, but the right omega oil can be hugely helpful at a high dose for autism. However, I would mainly say gut health and correcting that to help them to think differently, because we have those gut feelings and the gut-brain connection is huge. And also, Kate, you would know this I'm responding to a systematic kinesiology student, vagus nerve. Yeah, vagus nerve. Wonderful. So apologies for going 15 minutes over, although thank you for your comments. It's lovely to see that it has, my tips have helped. There's many more, and we've just covered a few. However, I feel if they are put into practice, fairly simple steps for big changes. So thank you for being with me this evening, and look forward to seeing some of you again soon. And if you've got any questions concerning this, please do email the office, info@kinesiology.co.uk, and we're happy to help further. Okay, so thank you, and bye-bye for now. Bye.